No, Mr. Moore, to be quite honest, the issues that I am going to touch upon, of course, directly impact the civil servants within the world of work, but with also when it comes to their quality of life. I want to paint a picture, Mr. Moore. Civil servants have not enjoyed an indexation to their salary since 2012. Okay, since 2012. As we know, after we consult the Consumer Price Index that is published by the Department of Statistics, the cost of living has increased, right? Sometimes on a yearly basis by a number of percentage points, okay? But salaries have remained the same. Besides that, we have the phenomenon where you have a number of civil servants who, one, have reached their maximum salary, right? So therefore there's no room to grow. And you have a number of civil servants who are part of our membership who are in the wrong salary scale. All right? So this goes even before Superstorm Irma, before these other issues. Okay? This is nothing new. As a matter of fact, these issues was also highlighted during the recent budget debate, where the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Minister of General Affairs provided not only the figures, but the price tag that this situation will cause government. So while I can understand that on one hand government is in a bind, but on the other hand, the workers, the people who are responsible for enforcing policies, the people who are responsible for developing policies in order to bring our island back online, are not enjoying the fruits of their labor. We have seen in the past, Mr. Moore, that government was able to secure funding for particular projects, and that went ahead despite our financial situation. I saw recently, and I have to verify, but we've seen instances where companies owe government millions, are seemingly not being held accountable, but civil servants now who are responsible. Some civil servants have to deal with the public on a daily basis, sometimes at the expense of their own personal safety, Mr. Moore. And you're saying that they cannot get the remuneration, the financial rewards, the opportunities for growth that will enable them to not only improve their quality of life, but also that of their family. Mr. Moore, I have to paint this picture for you because we believe that government is an employer. Government is also an employer. Government sets the standard, right, for companies to ensure that their workers enjoy decent wages, safe and healthy work environment, and so forth and so on. And we believe that the government of St. Martin, as an employer, ought to take its own statements as an example. They should live by it. Okay? It cannot be, Mr. Moore, that you have within our public sector the majority of whom are female workers. The average woman on St. Martin has 2 children, if I get the statistics right. Okay? And if we have the majority of females, and let's say the majority are in this precarious situation, and they have families who sometimes the females are the single income earner, then what are we doing to that family, Mr. Moore? We talk about SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and one which St. Martin has signed on to, okay, which talks about gender equality. It talks about eradication of hunger, poverty, and so forth and so on. But when we line up this precarious situation that civil servants find themselves in, one would be hard-pressed to find out or to answer with confidence that we are in fact living up to this particular framework that governments have signed on to. You understand? Again, we understand the financial situation.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
It's been said that behind every door, possibility awaits. How much possibility depends on which door you open first. Every day, we help our customers discover the possibilities in their lives. It all starts with a conversation. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
We got some questions this week based on the comment that the Ombudsman made on our comments and on our questions that we posed last week. What the Ombudsman did was informing the people when you have a complaint what you have to do. The Ombudsman did not inform the people that there was a next thing that they had in the law for them to implement, and which is that they could have done a systematic investigation into what we have been brought to their attention. Let us explain what could have been done. We informed the Ombudsman that the announcement in 2018 for the increase of the tariffs from the Semata Medical Center didn't start there. It started already in 2016, where without a national decree, government allowed the St. Martin Medical Center to charge the SZV, where social tariffs decree how much you can charge. They allowed them an increase. And we illustrated that where we were aware that the St. Martin Medical Center got funding, that the Minister of Public Health said that he did not sign a decree for social tariffs increase, but he provided the opportunity to SZV to advance monies to SMMC, budget financing he called it, and that this procedure, that the responsibility and the accountability that you have to give of the funding cannot be based on higher tariffs, but must have and had to be based on the tariffs that were decreed before that. We asked the Ombudsman to do a systematic investigation in how government was going about these national decrees, in preparing them, in sitting with St. Martin Medical Center and with SZV in the so-called tripartite of Minister Lee, as Minister of ASR, the Director of SZV, Mr. Kati, and the Director of the St. Martin Medical Center, and we asked them to look into this thing where we think that they were not following what is the regulations and the stipulations of the land. The Ombudsman didn't do that. On the contrary, the Ombudsman gave us as recommendation to send a letter, to file our complaint and do all of that. Where we were there for their advice, we complied with all of that. But at the end of the day, when the Ombudsman said, case closed, you got an answer, it means to say for 1 year, waiting for an answer, where for 3 years already they are doing things which are illegal, we said. And the proof of the pudding is when you eat it. Do your investigation and you will see it. That is how we said you will have the opportunity to defend the consumers. Because we applaud the Ombudsman for doing investigations like they did with the rental committee, like they did with the cadastre, like they do now about the housing situation of the people. That's good that they do that, because they see where government services is falling short, or where the legislation available is not appropriate. And there comes their recommendations on behalf of the consumers. So where we asked to defend the consumers for the health care costs to be curbed, the way that the St. Martin Medical Center was going about increase of the tariffs, we said it is not right. It should go based on the regulations and the stipulations that are out there, and it didn't went that way. And the proof we got last week when we told you that the Minister of Theatre answered us and said, we have come up with a decree and we legislated with retroactive force what was not decreed. So when you yourself is informing us that something has been done there which was not according to the law, and now you come up with a law to legislate it with the retroactive force, we will address this issue in court, where there are consumers that brought for us the payments that they have been making before this national decree was decreed with retroactive force, where they thought, where they were even informed that they would have gotten a budget to prepare for a certain amount, and where later on this was increased with the 41.8%. So in reacting upon this, we got this week a letter from the Ombudsman where they gave us some information about why they allowed the national decree to continue, where the national decree was discriminatory for people that are not a resident in the island, where these people have to pay 80% more than the residents in the island that are not insured with SFV but private consumers of the healthcare services of SMMC, and where we see that a lot of workers undocumented in our society are becoming a threat for our healthcare because they cannot afford, if they have to make use of St. Martin Medical Services, if they have to see a specialist, the amount of money that is being charged to them is much higher than anyone else, whereas they're getting the same wages, even less than our own here in this society. So with that said, they are all consumers. With that said, they also need to be respected in the land, because nowhere in our constitution is said that persons that are not registered on the island have different rights than the persons that are registered. All have to be treated equal. No discrimination should be applied. And so as Consumers Coalition, we have brought this up. We will continue to bring this up, and we will see where the Ombudsman self indicated in the letter, this is what we are studying now, that if any consumer is not in agreement with this decree or with this fact that they have to pay more, they can go court and ask a judge to look into it. So that is how we can, for now, inform you about it. We have this right now in study also with our legal advisor, and then we will inform the Ombudsman of our position.
Hey ma, how you doing? You busy?
I hear just paying some bills, taking care of business. You know what it is?
I know you're doing your online banking.
I don't have to stand in those long lines to pay bills. I can transfer when I want. I can check my account wherever. It's like the bank open 24/7. I even here checking the statement right now as we're talking. How's Miami?
Well, that's why I'm calling. I'm finishing up a few songs now, but I'm afraid that studio time might be more than I thought. And I was wondering if I could get some help with some funds, and I could pay you back as soon as I get back to St. Martin.
Let me check my account. How much you need?
I think 500 should be enough.
I can transfer it to you while online. Direct from me to you. No problem.
Great. Thank you so much, Ma. I'll get online with Wib now.
Alright, darling. You know who you're for?
I need to know who you're for.
Contact WIB today for your complete personal online banking experience. Available for all mobile devices. The Windward Islands Bank, now your online banking partner.
Topic of the Ombudsman, we would like to go back also to the report of the Transparency International of 2015, the National Integrity System Assessment. I can recall, because being a past member of the SER, and to get the acceptance of this very same report by officials and also those appointed by government sitting in the SER, to accept the very same report. But look at the record, please. This report was paid in 2013 by the government of St. Martin. It is documented. If you can only take the time and read, paid for by the government of St. Martin. So what came out of this report, I believe, should be accepted, because it is our own money. We paid for it to be investigated, and this is the outcome of their investigation. Let us go now to the issue and the problem we've been having at times with the Ombudsman. Not taking away the fact also, as reported, that at times we have applauded the initiative of the Ombudsman, but we are also having our challenges where the Ombudsman is not acting in accordance to a true setting internationally and locally. And according as to their the report in the Transparency International, and also if you look at the definition for the Ombudsman, at times how investigation requests are being answered or not given the true answers or definitive answers, or vacillating answers by the office of the Ombudsman, is questionable, because the Ombudsman must understand, though it gets its budget from the state, it is an institution that is set at the highest level within our constitutional system, whereby, but with the objective of being a true representative of the people. By the time you find that the Ombudsman draws a political line per se in not giving the true and raw answers, if it's blue, just let everyone to know that it is blue. You understand? And here's where we can clearly see that at times where the Ombudsman need to have rulings that are clear and condemning, that doesn't come forth in some or many of the reports. From Transparency International, I would like to read their report of 2013, what they found after interviewing the Ombudsman. And their summary, they're stating that the Ombudsman of St. Martin is an independent, both in law and in practice. Transparency with regard to individual investigation can be improved. The Ombudsman has adequate resources to effectively execute or accomplish its tasks in practice. Okay, so where we see shortcomings by the office of the Ombudsman, we can clearly say, no, you have the resources in-house to definitively bring true answers, clarity to matters. And I was involved in cases where I took labor issues to the Ombudsman, and where clearly it is stated that I won, but they asked me
to please give them more time so government can comply. I say no, but what about our rights and the government just ignoring you and us, the public, and you as one of the highest entities within the constitutional system, not responding to you, and you're asking the public to give government more time. And I say no, you should write your report and letting government know that time was given, you requested more time, you have not complied, and it is disrespectful both to the general public or to the individual and to the office of the ombudsman that government has not answered or disrespecting them in such way. So let's go now to the definitions of the ombudsman. It is a representative to look after the affairs of the public for finding any misadministration or conduct administratively by government towards the general public. So, and I can recall a good word because that they use in Papiamento and Curacao. The ombudsman says it is a defensor di pueblo, defender of the public. And I love that word because there is no two-way where that is concerned. You look after the interests of the people. You can't look after the interests of the people and government. You got to look after the interests of the people. If they report that they're being abused or ill-treated or whatever have you, your job is to, on their behalf, come forward, do your proper findings, and work on their behalf. So, in other words, I'm saying that the ombudsman need to step up its game and start coming down now with concrete answers where matters are concerned.
I want to hear everybody say, okay, I want all who have a cat to say meow. Wait. I ask all who have a cat to say meow. Let me hear you. I see some people more clothes. And I see some men meowing. What's going on? Somebody get away and then cause it havoc. Somebody get away and then run it up. Somebody get away and then behave bad. Somebody get away and then driving them up. They want me to hold it down, 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 hold it down. Somebody get away and then drink up the milk. Somebody get down, hold it down, hold it down, hold it down. Oh, whoa. Hold it down, 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 hold it down. Funky horny ones in the house. Somebody give me a